Welcome back to The Explainer, where we break down complex topics into simple, actionable ideas. Today, we're going to tackle a big one, GRC. That's governance, risk, and compliance. You know, in today's business world, it can seriously feel like you're trying to find your way through a giant, complicated maze. There are rules, regulations, and all sorts of new threats popping up around every corner. It's pretty easy to feel overwhelmed and, honestly, a little lost. Okay, so let's dive right into this problem. Let's talk about what makes up this modern business maze. For so many organizations, the challenges are all tangled up together. You've got risk management happening in one department, compliance over in another, and they're hardly even talking to each other. This creates massive blind spots. Then you throw in the constant threat of cyber attacks, a never-ending stream of new regulations, and these super complex relationships with all your vendors, and, well, you've got a perfect recipe for chaos and exposure. So, here's what it all boils down to. Trying to manage all these pieces separately just isn't going to cut it anymore. Without one single, cohesive strategy, you're not just being inefficient, you are making yourself vulnerable to huge, costly penalties. I mean, just look at the billions in fines banks have paid for compliance failures, not to mention operational breakdowns and some really serious damage to your company's reputation. So, what's the way out of this maze? Well, turns out there's a really powerful integrated framework for that, and it's known as GRC. GRC, as we said, stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. Now, think of it like a unified operating system for your entire organization. Instead of treating these as three separate jobs, GRC brings them all together. It helps align everyone around the same goals while you get a handle on all that uncertainty. And what's really cool is how it breaks down into these three core pillars that all work together. First, you've got governance. This is basically setting the rules of the game. Think of your company's code of conduct. Then there's risk management. This is all about identifying what could go wrong, like a potential data breach. And finally, compliance. This makes sure you're actually following all the rules, both your own internal ones and external ones, like GDPR. They're all connected. If one pillar is weak, the whole structure is at risk. And this brings us to a really critical shift in mindset. You have to stop seeing GRC as just another cost and start seeing it for what it is, a powerful strategic asset. This chart just lays it out perfectly. The old cost center view, that's all about defense, just trying to avoid fines, usually with manual processes and a lot of duplicated work. But the new strategic asset view is all about being proactive. It's about using GRC to be more efficient, to make smarter decisions, and to build a much more resilient organization. It can actually become a real competitive advantage. But, okay, how do you make that vision a reality, right? How do you actually turn GRC from a chore into an advantage? Well, the answer is technology. It's the engine that powers the whole thing. I mean, let's be real. With how complex everything is today, trying to manage risk by juggling a million spreadsheets and endless email chains, it just doesn't work. It's slow, it's full of potential errors, and it gives you zero real-time visibility into what's actually happening. This is where modern GRC platforms, from companies like ServiceNow or RSA Archer, they totally change the game. They automate all those routine tasks, which frees up your team to do more important strategic work. They give you these centralized dashboards so you can get a clear, live view of your entire risk landscape. And some even use AI to analyze patterns and spot trouble before it becomes a huge problem. So for any company that's looking to get started, the path really follows these 5 key steps. You start with an honest look at where you are right now. Then you align your GRC goals with your actual business strategy. From there, it's all about building the right structure, bringing in the technology, and then committing to always monitoring and improving. So, what's the big payoff for getting all this right? We're talking about gaining a true, measurable competitive edge. A fully mature GRC program delivers some seriously powerful, tangible value. You can see it right here. It leads to a huge reduction in risk and a major boost in how efficiently you operate. And when you combine those two things, you get significant cost savings, money you can then reinvest back into growing the business. The key takeaway is that GRC helps you build a smarter, safer, and just plain stronger company. You start making better decisions based on data, not just guesswork. You build a better reputation and earn trust from customers and partners. I mean, think about how Apple's focus on privacy has become a huge part of its brand. And you become way more resilient, able to handle disruptions that might totally cripple your competitors. This quote just perfectly captures the whole idea of modern GRC. It's not just a defensive move anymore. It's a strategic plan for building a high-performing organization that's ready for anything. So this leaves us with one final thought. Take a hard look at your own organization's approach. Is your governance, risk, and compliance program just a simple shield, a costly defense you use to block penalties? Or are you actively using it like a strategic sword to create value and drive your organization forward? The choice really makes all the difference.